Welcome back, viewers. We're out and about again exploring the abandoned Pittsburg and Shawmut locations. Today I'm returning to Knox Dale Tunnel, actually walking there right now from the south. I've heard quite a bit of changes have occurred since the last time I was here in October last year with friend and fellow YouTuber Captain Rolls, also known as Eddie. Apparently the tunnel has experienced a recent collapse just within the last year, so I'm curious to get there and see how bad the damage is. Something I will say is, walking on the right-of-way here the end of October, a lot of the greenery's gone, and I'm kind of surprised. I didn't realize how open this still is, considering this line was abandoned in 2005. The fact that it's not more grown up than it is, I guess, is kind of amazing. But I've seen when this was still in use, and off to the sides here you had none of this. This whole area was just completely open. All these tiny trees have grown up over time, and apparently people have been dumping tires. But yeah, either way, it's definitely not what it was like when they were still operating in the early 90s. Getting closer to the tunnel right now. You can just see it right up there. Can't see through it. I recall you could before. So whether that's good or bad, yet to find out. All right, just walking up to the tunnel here, going in the south entrance, and I don't know if it's showing up on camera here, but yeah, I can see the collapse right away, and it's quite substantial. They're starting to adjust. Yeah, that's quite a pile of debris, and you can basically see it came from up top there. If you remember the video I did back in October there with Eddie, I showed that there was a hole there and a piece of the cement was hanging from the roof. I think that's that chunk right there. It's got the wire on it. But yeah, all that has come down. I'm assuming it was from the winter we had. You get a lot of freeze and thaw cycles. Not only that, you get a lot of rain, which that contributes to the tunnel's deterioration. And I think what's contributed the most to the collapse at the south end here has been these drains, which have failed. And this is a perfect example, because you can see this one, you've got a lot of rock and sediment which has collected in here. And of course, when you have that, it's going to keep the water from going through those drains. And because the water can't escape, it's going to collect around the arch here. And basically, when you have all that water up there, it's going to freeze, and then it's going to thaw, and that's just going to push things apart over time. And even the water itself can loosen and deteriorate all this. And eventually you just get what you have here, this major collapse. As I'm looking at this collapse right now, I'm kind of just still in shock, because right where I'm standing at the moment, this is where me and the YouTuber Zach Attack shot a scene for a video he was doing only about maybe 2 years ago, I think it was. And I might even throw up some footage of that scene that we shot, and you can just see how open everything was compared to what it is now. Funny enough, he was actually here about a month ago, because he was the one that reported to me about this collapse, and of course, I've had to check it out for myself here. You got this chunk of cement laying here, which has the rebar in it. You can possibly just see those wires sticking out right there. And that chunk of cement would have been up top where you have the rest of that remnants of rebar. And I'm going to assume when all this rubble came down, it basically took that piece with it, along with whatever else is buried under this pile. I'm going to try walking up the pile here just to take a look at up in that hole up through there. And obviously you can't see any daylight, so it's not like it goes the whole way up to the top. I haven't taken a measurement yet, but it's, we're not too far into the tunnel where this collapse has occurred. Something else I noticed, which is rather concerning, is right here where the collapse is, if you look back along the ceiling, you can see there's more cracks, and I'm going to say right there, those two chunks of cement, that's going to be the next to come down. And I'd say if we get another harsh winter or even a lot of rain like we had in the spring and the fall this year, that's definitely going to result in structural failure. I am going to step over the pile here and probably going to walk to the north end of the tunnel, just see what's going on there. Wow, there's definitely more. It's definitely a mess over on this side. Wow. I know this probably isn't showing up too well, but right there, that's the collapse. But going back along here, yeah, you can just see the gaps opening up. And if I zoom in here, you can see there's more rebar right there. So obviously that's no longer holding anything. And again, like I said, those two chunks, most likely they're going to be the next to come down. And honestly, yeah, I'm here right now, I'm walking around, but I do not think I'd be doing that if this was wintertime and we were getting a lot of rain, because I think water is definitely an enemy here. You get a lot of that and it's going to contribute to a collapse. See, walking through here, there have been times I've gone through this tunnel and you can hear the water coming out of the drains. You know, the old rail bed here is usually wet, puddles all over the place, but not hearing anything or seeing much water, which I'm kind of surprised about, because I thought we had quite a bit of rain this past week, but you know, clearly not enough to cause anything to be running through here. Just coming up to the north end of the tunnel here, and I don't know how well this will show up on video, but if you look at the arch at the north end of the tunnel, it's actually in better condition than you have at the south end. You don't have these massive cracks. Yeah, you got a little bit of cement peeling off the walls here in places, but for the most part, it's in really good shape. And there's none here at the moment, but basically you go down that way and you look at the drains down there, those are still draining. The other ones at the south are just completely packed full. Coming out of the north end of the tunnel here, there's that concrete barrier which was once blocking off the entrance. Turn around here, there's a good look at the north entrance of the tunnel. And you can see remnants of the chain link fence, which would have also been blocking that off. But yeah, I can't get too far back or else the sun ruins the shot like you just saw. But there's the north end of Knox Dale Tunnel. Well, I guess seen all gonna see here, so get heading back to the south end of the tunnel. Something I find a little odd is I noticed standing at the south entrance, you can see the north entrance, but standing from the north entrance, you can't see the south entrance. Kind of curious why that is. Maybe if any of my viewers know, go ahead and leave a comment. But I'm probably going to wait till I get further down to the south end there to start recording again, because once you get in here so far, it's going to get dark. Just coming back up on the collapse here. Again, this is not exactly showing up that well just because of you got all the light from the south entrance there. But gonna climb over this and then get out of here. There's another look at the collapse, and I believe I said this before, but I'll say it again. Considering the condition of the south entrance now, there's no way in hell I would be coming in here during the wet season, or if it's raining or anything like that. Water is definitely the enemy here. Something that does have me curious is whether or not any of the locals will actually try to clear this collapse and make the tunnel accessible again, because a lot of people do ride ATVs through here and along the old right-of-way. And in fact, these barriers which were up at the end of the tunnel here, those were actually taken down for that reason. These concrete barriers which were blocking off the tunnel, I guess one of the locals actually came in here with a tractor and removed these. So if you've got the right equipment, you could actually go in there and clear that collapse as well. So there's one final look at the south end of Knox Dale Tunnel. Rather disappointing that collapse occurred, but considering the circumstances, it was kind of inevitable. And when looking back at what I saw back in October last year, I figured something was going to give over the winter, and sure enough. But, you know, what do you expect? This tunnel was abandoned back in, I think, 2005, and I believe it was, when it was built, I know the Shawmut built their right-of-way between Brookville and Freeport between 1908 and 1913. So somewhere around there on this tunnel, I guess. So yeah, it's seen a number of years, that's for certain. But I think I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. I don't know when I'm going to be checking out any other Pittsburg and Shawmut locations or be back at the Knox Dale Tunnel. That's a whole other topic unto itself, which I'll have a video coming up about that and go into more detail. But yeah, that's going to be it for now. Again, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll catch you all real soon.